Hello, everybody. I just wanted to report on a big trade that happened this period. It happened yesterday. The Carolina Copperheads are making some really bold moves, actually, as they have brought on a superstar player. They've cut free from a couple of players, freed up some salary, and they've also brought in a really good role player to try to help the cause of the Carolina Copperheads. Mark Jones runs this team, and yesterday he made huge waves as he released Marcus Sasser and Keegan Murray. Now, that's not a big deal. Those two contracts, I think, between them, they're worth about $11 million. But the big move came when they released Tyrese Halliburton, point guard of Indiana, the Indiana Pacers, and they picked up LA Lakers forward LeBron James. Now, LeBron James is playing small forward for the Lakers, but LeBron is one of those few players in the NBA that can play pretty much every position. And that's exactly what the Carolina Copperheads did. I would have thought they might have moved him to power forward, but instead, they want to move LeBron James to the shooting guard position where he becomes one of the top shooting guards in the league right away. And to do that, they had to make a couple of position switches. They moved LaMelo Ball over to the point. But here's the deal that went down yesterday. As you can see on screen here, LeBron James is signed. And LeBron, by the way, is making about $49 million. As you can see right there, his salary is $48.72 million. And he's giving you 23 fantasy points per game. And he's doing that in about 35 minutes, and that adds up to just over 30 points per 48 minutes. Very solid numbers from LeBron James. He's making about 2.5 threes per game, getting to the line a little less than he has in the past, but he's converting 4 free throws at a 74% clip. The big thing that LeBron does is he puts pressure on that double-double statistic every night. As you can see, he has 8 rebounds and 9 assists on average. One thing you might frown upon is all those turnovers, 3.8, and very little blocks and steals to offset those turnovers. But still, LeBron is a big-time scorer, still averaging about 24 points a game. And he's a consistent starter. And this is a big-time addition to the Carolina Copperheads. Now, they did have to sacrifice the contract of Tyrese Halliburton, who's making around $41 million. They had to get rid of that one because they also wanted to sign Kevin Love, and they were right up against the cap. Kevin Love is an excellent pickup because he is an excellent role player. And just taking a closer look at the numbers on Love, let's have a look. As you can see, he's making a very reasonable $3.85 million. He's not going to give you a ton of minutes, but you can see over here his fantasy points per game are sitting at, hold on one second here, bear with me, I got to get it up here where it's easier to manage. 11.43 per 48. 11.43 per game. And he's doing that in about 18 and a half minutes. His last game on the season, he's averaging about 14 minutes. Kevin Love is an excellent role player. He's kind of like a Kevon Looney. The only thing you might say is maybe Kevin Love isn't always dependable. And you look at the past season results and games played. He played 55 games last year. He played 60 games the year before that, 77 before that. That's very nice. LeBron is another one where he had a great year last year in terms of playing, being available, as he played in 71 games, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 71 games. But as you can see, the year before, he played 56 games. The year before that, 45. So LeBron is not a guarantee to be on the court. So even though this move might look like, the Carolina Copperheads are going to be just too good to beat now, well, you got to remember, injuries are a part of this game. And LeBron may have played in 71 games last year, but there's no guarantee that's going to happen again. So I wanted to go over to the roster of the Copperheads and just kind of have a look at their situation, what players they have now. And bear with me as I pull them up. Here's the Carolina Copperheads. Let's sort them based on points per game this season. And as you can see, Nikola Jokic is their main guy, and LeBron James becomes their second best player. Jalen Duren is third. LaMelo Ball fourth. Evan Mobley is fifth, followed by Franz Wagner. So that's their top six guys right there. LeBron is at the shooting guard. Nikola, of course, at center. Duren backs him up, so they don't get to use all of the minutes from Jalen Duren. LaMelo Ball now becomes the point guard, and Evan Mobley is the starting power forward, Franz Wagner at the small forward. This is a great team, and this is promising to be a great team in the future. However, you have to remember a couple of things about this team. Nikola Jokic is already making $51 million, and starting next year, I think he goes up to about $55 million, and it just goes up from there. Now, that's not too big of a cap hit. LeBron James is moving up about $4 million in his contract next season. The big ones are going to be let me see here. Evan Mobley and Franz Wagner. And let's just check it out on Evan Mobley. Right now, currently, Evan Mobley is making $11.22 million, $11,220,000. But check it out coming up next year. Let's go over to Spot Track. And as you can see, starting in 25-26, this is Evan Mobley. As you can see, power forward. Starting 25-26 season, he moves up to $38.6 million. And the year after that, 41.7. By the time he's 26, he's making about $45 million. So something is going to have to be done with Evan Mobley. Either, you're going to step up and pay that contract, or you're going to move on and try to find another cheap player. And I'm not sure if they have anybody the level of Evan Mobley to do that. Another guy that's going to go up quite a bit in contract is Franz Wagner. And if we go over here to Spot Track and punch Wagner into the system, let's have a look. Doesn't want to respond. Hold on. All right, finally we get him up. Franz Wagner, starting next season, is going up to $38.6 million. That's an estimate right now. And then as you can see, these contracts are just getting bigger and bigger. So basically in this league, we have a higher salary cap because we're a smaller league, and I want people to be able to get great players on their team that they can recognize and enjoy. But you also have to go after your lower priced players and manage your cap. The NBA cap is right around 145, I think, this year, and we're at 210. So each year, basically, I've kind of thought it out and figured it out. I think we should be like basically about 30% higher than the NBA cap, or maybe the cap should be about 70% of what our cap is. So basically, I will divide the cap each year by zero point 0.7, and that will give us our cap. And next year's salary cap is expected to go to, I think, somewhere in the 150s. And I've done the estimates, and it looks like we're going to be sitting at about 220 million starting next year. Now, you might say, wow, that's too much money. But the truth is the NBA is going to be expanding their cap quite a bit in the coming years. And it's because they did do some deals with television, and they have a lot of revenue coming in. And you know that the players are going to want a share of that revenue. So salaries are going to explode. What you're seeing right now is going to be a thing of the past. There's going to be a lot of players making 50 plus million. Right now, there's only a handful of players that are making 50 or more million. In the future, that number is going to explode, and it's going to get crazy. You're going to see some guys making 70 million in coming years. It's going to get nuts. So we're going to need that extra cap space. But what I'm going to do is just kind of, gauge how things are. I want to make this league challenging. I don't want to make it too easy to just grab a bunch of great players that make a lot of money. We'll figure it out in coming years how it's going to work. We'll just have to go at, do it as we go. Just cross bridges as we come to them. And in fact, I would love it if we all got together on like a Zoom in the off season and did like a, like an, what do they call it? Like an owners meeting, like they do in all the sports where they meet in the off season to kind of discuss rules. I would like to discuss the scoring system. I have some ideas there for a few changes. I definitely have ideas about the cap that I'm talking about right now. Just a few things I just wanted to go over today. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to talk about this big deal that the Copperheads made, getting LeBron James and letting go of Tyrese Halliburton. Now, they do have the right for the next 8 days to reclaim Tyrese Halliburton if they want to. Halliburton will become a free agent in this league the week after this. So he will not be available in the next scoring period or the next transaction period, which is Monday, but he will be available the week after that. And I can elaborate on the reason for those rules later if you want, but I won't do it right now because I came here mainly to talk about this big deal that makes the Copperheads a very good team. I mean, it makes them definitely a contender. They already were doing pretty well. If you look at the standings here, you can see these box scores that I was talking about. I like the new system format for the box scores. How I put them on the the message board posts like this. I like that. But you can see the Copperheads were already doing fairly well at 10-8, and they're sitting back in fifth place here, and they have a chance to really move up the standings with this deal. The Copperheads also, I want to go over their lineup for next week since they did make those changes with LeBron James moving him to the 2 guard. As you can see here, LaMelo Ball now becomes the starting point guard, backed up by Keontae George, and then LeBron James becomes the new 2 guard. Franz Wagner stays at small forward. Evan Mobley is at the power forward. And of course, Nikola Jokic at center. Carolina Copperheads are looking up here. Huge move. And that's what's kind of fun about this league is that you can make these types of moves, these big blockbuster type moves. As you can see now in free agency, there's a lot of options here. You've got Tyrese Halliburton. He's not available yet, but he will be in about a week. Rudy Gobert. Kyrie Irving is still out there. Steph Curry is still out there making big money. If you can free up the cash, though, maybe Steph Curry could help you out. There's a lot of big names still available in free agency. Jimmy Butler. And you're going to have your injuries. You're going to need to fill some space. I mean, this league offers a lot of challenge, I think, and you really have to know your lower priced players because you need to get more for your buck. Those are the guys that are really going to put you over the top, and hence the signing of Kevin Love by the Copperheads. That's a really good move on their part for a role player type player. I want to show you something like on the Saints. I made this league, and so I already had a good idea what it would take to win. I knew the value of role players, and I'll show you an example. My team right here, we've got Kevon Looney, and as you can see, he got 38.1 points per 48 minutes. He doesn't play a lot of minutes, only 13.4 last week in the NBA, but look at the production he gives you. It's very important, and also the price, $8 million. You want to look for these guys. These are the guys that are going to help you out, help you spend more on the superstars. They're going to get the bulkier minutes. At center, sometimes you might even play like 3 guys a lot of times, pretty much like we do. I have Capella starting at center. He doesn't take up all the minutes. As you can see, he gets 26 minutes. If I played Nurkic off the bench, usually he's right about the same. And so that leaves a little bit of time for a third guy. And Luke Cornett is a guy that we use sometimes. In the future, maybe Kyle Filipowski could be decent. Right now, there's this kid who's a two-way player that we signed. His name doesn't come to mind. He's not on this box score because we just picked him up. But I guess I could find him real quick here. These two-way players can be valuable, and they cost less than $1 million. So you might look into some of those guys too. This guy I'm talking about is Trey Jemison, and he's lighting it up right now for New Orleans because they have a bunch of injuries, and they're using him quite a bit. I'll show you how to get a guy's stats when you can't get him. This will only keep track of what the guy's done for your team, these stats on your roster page. Go to the guy's card, click on it, hit more. Then you can see what he's actually scoring per game. He's getting 4.79 fantasy points per game, and go down here to his minutes. He's averaging 11.3 minutes. Okay, so that number actually fell from when I signed him. It was a lot closer. So now he's coming back to earth. As you can see, his last game, he played 11 minutes. He got 4 rebounds. I mean, he's very productive per minute. No turnovers. I mean, this guy can be very valuable to you. But he's just a guy that you could get for dirt cheap and maybe pops up and has a big game. You could always throw him in your rotation and take a chance. You could do such things in this league. That's what I'm trying to say. So at 0.58, that translates to $580,000. That is the league minimum salary in this league. These kind of players can be valuable because, you got enough cap space. Usually you got like maybe $1 million or so sitting around, maybe 1.4. You can afford a couple of these two-way players in the NBA, and you never know when they're going to pop up and help you. Depth, it pays in this league to have a deep team. So that's it. I'm just going to leave it at that. Just wanted to come on and talk about that deal. Nice job to Mark Jones picking up LeBron James. And this promises to be an important move for them. I think, it'll be interesting to see how they produce this coming week. And by the way, I'm going to have to get back on here and also talk about the Alberta Cowboys. They picked up Devin Booker. So I'll probably make another video a little later in the week. I'll have Thanksgiving off. Maybe I'll try to do a video early in the morning there. Who knows? But that's another interesting move worth looking at. They got rid of Jaylen Brown. I like it because Jaylen Brown is kind of overpriced for what he gives you. $49 million, averaging about 17 fantasy points. He's getting about, 24 per 48, but he plays small forward. I don't know. Maybe, you get a shooting guard like Devin Booker, who is also very expensive. He's averaging 17 points, though, and he's playing a position where it's harder to get like 24 per 48. So maybe that works out for Alberta. It's good to have the new guy here in the league. I think it's Jacob. It's good to have some new blood in the league, and hopefully Jacob catches on to what we're doing here and enjoys this format. Okay, I've rambled on long enough, guys. I'll talk to you soon, and thanks for playing.